Hello, everyone. My name is Tim B. Green, and this is Crush It Club, episode 46. We're all clones. So what I mean by clones is it's an acronym for our evolutionary default settings. It is what we are by default, but not what we have to be by choice. That is, if you don't mindfully, consciously, intentionally choose how to behave, you're going to go back to your default. You weren't taught this. It was literally genetically programmed into you because our ancestors survived with these behaviors, with these traits, with these propensities. But they're 20,000 years out of date, which is always the case. So we're always a clone by default. It is our behavioral default. And here's what makes that a bad thing. First of all, let's talk about what each one is. So C stands for comfort seeking. This used to be pleasure seeking because I think it's more accurate. So comfort seeking essentially means we want, see, I'm in a nice warm house coat for lots of reasons I could talk about. The bottom line is it's just ecological and I'd need to wear something warm, even if I turned the heat on in the leaky Japanese apartments, heat leaky, that is. So we are comfort seeking because comfort means we survive, and why I like pleasure better than comfort in terms of this is comfort seeking means warm, safe, and, well, sex. Let's be honest about this. You can't make ancestors, which would be us, or sorry, descendants. Our ancestors couldn't make descendants without having sex. So by default, in evolutionary terms, to pass on your genes, you have to have sex. Sometimes I like to call it pass the genes, play pass the genes. Anyway, so comfort seeking, lazy. We are energy conserving machines too. Again, these are all biological defaults, not what we have to be. So remember that unlike now, where I'm 1 minute away from 7-Eleven and 2 minutes away from McDonald's, in our evolutionary past, you don't know when or if your next meal is coming. So saving energy, that is being lazy, not using energy for anything except survival or reproduction, was in essence a waste of energy, which may mean the difference between starving to death because you wasted that energy or surviving long enough to get your next meal, and then ideally have sex to pass on your genes, which has led to us. So our ancestors obviously succeeded because we are here. So by definition, they survived at least long enough to reproduce. So comfort seeking, lazy. Next one is, oh, that would be overeating. And this is related to the laziness. Laziness is about conserving energy for only what's essential in a dangerous, unpredictable world that, at least for anybody watching this, no longer exists. And even for most of the people not watching this, most of them aren't in threat of dying from lack of food, though some still are, and that's not okay. So overeating, again, is a default. So if you go, well, you know, I just love food. Well, everybody loves food. Everybody loves sugar, fat, and salt by and large. If you say you don't, that's fine, but that's what your default is. Kids don't learn how to like sweet food. They just like it because it's genetically been programmed into us that high calorie, energy rich food helps you survive long enough to get your next meal and ideally your next game of pass the genes. Okay, so we're all by default overeating because that helped us survive, and now it's killing us. Now the next one is negative. Now this is called the negativity bias, and it took me probably maybe 5 years ago when I first learned about this. It's like, oh, I thought I was by default negative, only to find out, like all of these, this is a species-wide default program. By assuming the worst, by thinking negatively, you survived. I've talked about this before. the shadow outside of the cave. You don't assume it's a friendly shadow. It might be nothing. It might just be a weird angle where the moon is, and you hadn't looked outside of your cave during that time. A mysterious sound outside of your cave might be totally okay. But the downside of it not being okay made it so that those genes, those behaviors towards having a negativity bias, assuming the worst, survived and then made babies, which then led to descendants such as ourselves. So again, it's as a vastly dominant average, all of these traits are part of human behavior as a default because they succeeded, they worked in passing themselves on. So we're negative. So if you're thinking, I always think of the negative of things. It's like, yeah, by default, we all do. And I think that's really important because it changed for me the idea. It wasn't me. I wasn't bad. It wasn't a moral failing. It is literally our species-wide default. What's good today would have not survived in the past. We'll go over that if there's time left. And then the last one is emotional. Okay, we are all also this. In fact, I just finished listening to The Power of Regret by Daniel Pink, and it's great and kind of speaks to some of this. And then I am now reading one by Jonathan Haidt called The Righteous Mind. And he talks about moral intuition as a function of cognition based on emotions, based on the fact that there is some evolutionary component to our cognition around emotion. Some things we feel aversive. We smell a bad smell. It could be poison food, so we tend to be reviled by it. And we learn a lot of these things as early, and this shocked me. I just learned this. There was some amazing stuff in that book. As early as 6 months, we start to understand that wanting to be or affiliate with nice people is a good thing, and mean people are a bad thing. We start to make these moral judgments very early on because they helped us survive. So our emotions are also faster in terms of we experience our emotions faster than we can cognitively process on a deeper level, right? That's that system 1, system 2, fast thinking, slow thinking, Daniel Kahneman thing. So our fast thinking is intuitive and tends to be more emotional, that gut feeling. The more deliberate, slower, harder, more energy intensive thinking, where we say, okay, hold on, I'm going to sleep on it. Hold on, I'm going to think about this before I make a decision. These days leads to better decisions. The on balance between the energy and time wasted versus the benefits gained has now flipped. So if you flip this around, right, comfort seeking, well, comfort now, we seek it too much. That's why we're overweight and have diabetes and heart disease, is because our evolution has put us there. Lazy, same thing, right? It's easy to be lazy. Everybody can do it. I work a ton, but it isn't because it's effortless. It's I have to put effort into that. I've had to discipline it over a lifetime to become very disciplined. It took practice. I can lay around for a month, no problem. Overeating, everybody does this unless they choose not to. Negative, everybody does this unless they consciously choose not to. Emotional, everybody is this, whether they choose not to or not, but you can experience your emotions and put that Buddhist philosophy on it, is the one I like to use, and that is, I am not my emotions. Okay, so while all of these are true and it's not your fault, it is your responsibility and it is your choice. So you don't have to change who you are, but if you're comfort seeking, lazy, overeating, negative, and emotional, that just means you're human like everybody else. Beating yourself up is useless. Choose to be a better version of yourself because it is a choice. And this is where something that Daniel Pink talked about in his book, self-compassion. It's like we all fall off the wagon. Just get back on the wagon. So in sum, we're all clones by default, but we can mindfully choose otherwise. My name is Tim B. Green. This has been Crush It Club, episode 46. We're all clones. Bye for now.